What's up, guys? Welcome to Comic Basic Top 10s, where we count down the important and unimportant things in comics as quickly as we can. I'm Joel, and today's list, the top 10 best superhero movies in the last 10 years. Before we begin, I need you to do something for me. I need you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button right below this video, and while you're down there, hit that bell and turn those notifications on. Superheroes have taken the world by storm. Now more than ever, they sit on every corner, on millions of t-shirts, on posters, bags, toys, and video games. The genre has become so big that there are very few places in the world where they actually haven't been heard of. The leading cause for their popularities is the movies. Iron Man, Captain America, X-Men, Batman, Superman. Movies have caught on like a wildfire ravaging the forest. They are literally everywhere, and companies are churning them out faster than a Formula One race car. With so many movies to choose from, which ones deserve your attention? Which ones are the best superhero movies? Which movies have been talked about long after their release? And of those, what makes them the best superhero movies? Let's find out. A movie 5 months in the making, The Avengers was the movie that made Marvel realize that all their work was worth it. The Avengers was the movie that, for the first time, brought the likes of Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and the Hulk together. The movie was funny, filled with action, and left audiences not content with seeing it only once. I actually saw it 4 times overall, and 3 in the first 4 days of its release. By the end of the movie, audiences knew that they were in capable hands with Marvel. More important, however, was that at its conclusion, audiences knew that the entirety of the MCU was building for an epic showdown with Thanos. Who knew that a group of misfit characters that most of the world wouldn't know could turn out to be so popular? Guardians of the Galaxy worked because Marvel was willing to take a chance. The movie was a dramatic departure from what Marvel had done up to this point. It was a space opera filled with more humor and one-liners than all of the movies before it combined. Guardians of the Galaxy saw the meteoric rise of Chris Pratt and his character Star-Lord, and every other hero associated with the movie. Names like Groot, Rocket Raccoon, and Gamora became household names. Arguably, for the first time in Marvel's existence, their quote-unquote C-list characters were more well-known than their A-list characters. DC struggled mightily with their first few attempts at creating comic book movies. Man of Steel was average, and Batman vs. Superman, well, we all know it was a disaster. So when Wonder Woman hit the screen, audiences held a quiet reserve under their collective breaths. Wonder Woman didn't just surpass all expectations, it shattered them like a glass window. Not only was it a massive commercial hit for DC, it was a huge step forward for comic book movies. Wonder Woman proved that a woman-led comic book movie could succeed as much, if not more, than their male counterparts. Was the movie perfect? No, but which movie is? The movie didn't strive to be perfect. It didn't need to. What it did was show the world that DC did belong standing beside Marvel. Still widely regarded as one of the best superhero movies in the MCU, The Winter Soldier is in a class all to its own. A political spy thriller unlike anything before or after it, The Winter Soldier saw the cinematic adaptation of the Ed Brubaker comic of the same name. The story follows Captain America as he learns and comes to terms with the fact that his dead childhood friend Bucky Barnes is not actually dead. Instead, he's been brought back and brainwashed as an assassin for Hydra. The Winter Soldier deserves all the credit it gets simply because it is that good. As the Captain America movies continued along, so too did their inclusion and reliance on other characters. Case in point, Civil War. For as much as Civil War was a Captain America movie, it was an Avengers movie. The movie saw the entire cast of Avengers, minus Thor and Hulk, do battle against one another due to conflicting beliefs. And battle they did. The airport battle has gone down as one of the best comic fight scenes in the history of the genre. However, as good as the climactic battle was, it wasn't even the best part. Civil War introduced 3 new characters to the MCU. 3! Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Giant Man. Civil War was a spectacle that laid the groundwork for Infinity War. More than that, it showed that superheroes don't always have to get along. Homecoming was a big step for Marvel. The company had been riding high for years and could seemingly do no wrong. However, for all the right they were doing, there was always something missing. That something turned out to be their most recognizable hero, Spider-Man. Fans wanted Spider-Man back at Marvel, but due to legal constraints, he was owned by Sony. Thankfully, the two companies were able to come to an agreement, and the rest, as they say, is history. His debut in Civil War coincided with an applause that could be heard around the world. Marvel knew that they had to follow it up with a solo outing, so they got to work on Homecoming. Homecoming was special. From the picture-perfect cast choices to the undeniably Spider-Man story, the movie delivered. Homecoming wasn't great because Spider-Man was back at Marvel. Homecoming was great because it perfectly personified who and what the character was. The Dark Knight is known for many things, none of which are as important as Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker. His outing was so good that it landed him the only Oscar ever given to an actor in a superhero movie. That should be enough to make it one of the best superhero movies ever, but it's not. As the second movie in Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, The Dark Knight had high expectations. Batman had just been revived in the mainstream by its predecessor Batman Begins and was doing extremely well for the first time in decades. With the weight of the world on his shoulders, The Dark Knight delivered. Ledger's performance has reached untouchable status. No matter how many movies he's done or how good his other roles were, he will forever be linked to the Joker. His interpretation, more than any other, truly showed how demented the character actually is. After two lackluster Thor movies, Thor Ragnarok needed to succeed. But to do this, the franchise couldn't go back to the well that it had come from. Its prequel, The Dark World, is one of the most hated movies in the MCU, and followed a pretty mediocre formula. Ragnarok brought in director Taika Waititi, and his hiring made all the difference in the world. The franchise took an about-face and ditched everything about itself. It brought in Hela as its main antagonist and threw in Surtur for good measure. But it wasn't only the perfect villain choices that cemented Ragnarok as one of the best superhero movies. Thor Ragnarok was different from the get-go. It was funny, over the top, had Thor speaking to the audience, and became eerily similar to many buddy cop movies from decades past. The chemistry between Thor, Valkyrie, Hulk, Loki, and the Grandmaster is undeniable. Ragnarok succeeded where others couldn't because it wasn't afraid to reinvent itself. The comic book movies that work, and I mean really work, are the ones that aren't afraid to defy their own stereotypes. Logan is one of the most stereotype-defying movies ever. For everything it was, heart-wrenching, action-packed, and memorable, Logan was a Western. The movie brilliantly paid homage to a genre that had no business inserting itself into the comic medium. I remember leaving the theater for the first time, I did see it twice, and wondering why it had moved me so much. Sure, it was Hugh Jackman's final appearance as the character, and sure, Logan dies in the end, but I couldn't figure it out. After weeks of thought, it finally hit me. The movie didn't feel like a comic book movie. Logan touched on all the right emotional spots without ever sacrificing what it was. I don't think we'll ever see a movie like it, and that's okay. There isn't another name in comics deserving of it. The culmination of 10 years of work, Infinity War was the spectacle that everyone thought it would be. Infinity War crushed box office records to the tune of $2 billion. When it was all said and done, it became the highest grossing superhero movie of all time. This automatically makes it as one of the best superhero movies of the last decade. The movie saw Thanos finally appear as a threat the Marvel fans knew him as. Throughout it, he collects the Infinity Stones and uses them to decimate the entire population of the galaxy. With a simple snap of his fingers, he obliterates all those who oppose him. The movie brilliantly sets up the fourth Avengers movie, Endgame, and leaves the audiences wondering how the remaining Avengers will possibly defeat their foe. And that's it. The 10 best superhero movies of the last decade. What did you think? Which ones would make your best superheroes list? Are there some on my best superhero list that you wouldn't have included? Let me know below. As always, I'm going to ask you 3 things before you go. First, hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. Second, check out some of our other videos. If you don't know where to find them, no worries, I've put a recommendation right about there in that right hand corner. And third, check out 2 websites for me. First, I need you to check out Comics for Cause. I'll put the link in the description. Comics for Cause is a non-profit organization created by us at Comic Basics that sees the distribution of comic books to children all over the world. What does this actually mean? Basically, it means we give comic books to kids in orphanages and hospitals. Check out the website, and if you can, help us out. And then, I need you to go check out Comic Basics. Again, I'll put that link down below. Comic Basics is the website devoted to this YouTube channel, and it has more information than we could put into any of these videos. Thanks guys, and we will catch you next time.